Pop Quiz, Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Laboratory, The Flintstones, Johnny Bravo, Scooby-Doo, Top Cat, Wacky Races. What do they all have in common? Well, if you put one of these VHS tapes on, you'll see a certain black and white logo. That logo has haunted me. Every day. For 22 years. There's no escaping it. Yeah, these videos may not look like much, but they have one thing in common. In the 1990s, these shows were featured quite regularly on Cartoon Network, some sooner than others. Wacky Races I've owned for about 20 years, but the rest of them I've had to seek out. Top Cat, The Flintstones, Scooby-Doo and Cow and Chicken were relatively easy, but Dexter's Laboratory and Johnny Bravo took a bit more patience. Johnny Bravo alone took 4 months to find. But that's not the worst of it. There's one final VHS tape in this collection. Yogi Bear. I searched for 7 months to find this release, and I never found it. Every single day I was on eBay, and I found hundreds of VHS tapes for Yogi Bear. None of them what I was after. It was easier to find a PlayStation 5 on eBay than that one fucking VHS tape. The keyword there being easier. It was easier, and my wife and I agree it was worth the money. But was it worth the hassle? Absolutely not. These things either go really fast from official retailers or eBay, or they're just horrifically overpriced, usually through massive bidding wars. I would rather spend another year looking for that one VHS tape. You know what, let's just forget about Yogi Bear. It has 90 minutes of cartoons, so we have 9 episodes of whatever. If you have a VCR and you care about Yogi Bear, check it out. I never really cared about the character, so it's no real loss for me. Alright, let's take a look at what we actually have. First of all, trying to find a connection between these supposedly rare VHS tapes beyond the television channel they all aired on isn't easy. 5 are classic cartoons from the 1960s and 70s, and the other 3 were the first of that classic Cartoon Network brand that revolutionized many of our childhoods. The closest connection I can find is that all 8 shows were creations of Hanna-Barbera Productions, specifically shows created by William Hanna and Joseph Barbera after they were both fired from MGM in 1957. Well, that explains why there isn't a Tom and Jerry release in this collection. I mean, yeah, I already have enough Tom and Jerry, but that show was easily the best series those two ever made. It's also probably worth noting that despite the plastering of Volume 1 on every single one of these cases, none of these ever got a Volume 2. Either they didn't sell well enough, or it was all just marketing hype to promote Cartoon Network. Looking at my Tom and Jerry collection, I lean towards marketing hype, especially when you factor in that on all 8 VHS tapes, the first thing you see is a minute-long ad for this. So in a nutshell, what we have is basically a Hanna-Barbera greatest hits collection with the objective of promoting the everlasting hell out of a television channel dedicated to animated programming that's just becoming incredibly popular, having become a 24-hour channel of cartoons as recently as November 1998 on 2 of the UK's biggest satellite TV services. Oh well, no complaints from me. Before we actually get on with this, I need to talk about something that kinda relates to this collection. Apparently in 1990, a line of Hanna-Barbera stores opened in America. And by a line, I mean 3, according to some limited research I did, plus a Twitter post I found. I hated shopping as a kid, most of us probably did, but from the photos we have, the store looked amazing. It had personality out the ass, and it's a shame this franchise never took off and went worldwide. If they had the budget of Disney, maybe it would have happened. Okay, let's get on with it. We have 7 VHS tapes to cover. I should mention that with every single one of these things, the opening promos are exactly the same across the board. Cartoon Network, Iron Giant, Shiloh 2, and Pokemon the first movie, and some nonsense about video certificates. So there's nothing to talk about there. First, Wacky Races. I've already covered this one, but it never hurts to have a quick recap. 10 races in 10 episodes, with a runtime of 95 minutes not counting opening ads. It's still a good show. Dick Dastardly is easily the best character, the rules of the race are confusing and never clear, the judges once screwed him out of a perfectly fair win. It's a really stupid show, but still perfectly enjoyable. It remains a 3 out of 5. Hashtag Justice for Dick. Okay, next, let's do Dexter's Laboratory. One of my earliest memories of Cartoon Network involves this show, so let's hope it holds up. It should do. It has over 90 minutes of tunes after all, just like Wacky Races. What we have is 14 episodes from Season 1, D-Dimensional, Maternal Combat, Dexter Dodgeball, Dexter's Assistant, Dexter's Rival, Old Man Dexter, Double Trouble, Changes, Jurassic Pooch, Dimwit Dexter, Dee Dee's Room, Big Sister, Star Spangled Sidekicks, and Game Over, that last one not actually being listed on the VHS case. Basically, the first 7.5 full-length episodes of the show with the Dial-In for Monkey episodes cut. I do have a soft spot for D-Dimensional. It's not the best episode of the show, not by a long shot, but like I said only a minute or two ago, it reminds me of the early days of Cartoon Network, and if anything hits me right in the nostalgic soft spot, it's Cartoon Network. I also like the Frankenstein reference in Maternal Combat, and the kid in me couldn't help but notice the uncensored swear word in Dodgeball Dexter.
What's this crap?
I mean, sure, it's a minor one compared to other 4-letter words, but this would never pass on Cartoon Network these days. In Old Man Dexter, our hero isn't allowed to stay up late and watch TV. I don't know what the problem is. I stayed up all night to watch cartoons when I was a kid, and I turned out fine. This is a terrible life lesson, kids. Listen to your parents and not to me, and don't watch animated garbage after midnight. All in all, a good watch. Dexter was never one of my favourites, and nor does this have the absolute best episodes from the show. But what we have does work, and considering this is the first time I've been watching the show in bulk for about 12 years, not counting the Ego Trip review, I think it worked out. If this were the early 2000s and you had never seen this show before, this could be a good introduction, 3 out of 5. Next, let's do Top Cat. Once again, over 90 minutes. That may not be something to brag about considering there's only 4 episodes on here, but let's find out. Top Cat was a show I watched occasionally, but it was never one I'd actively seek out to cure boredom. When they made those 2 CGI movies, I didn't care enough to watch. So what this VHS release has is Hawaii Here We Come, The Maharaja of Pukaji, The Missing Heir, and all that jazz. Basically 4 of the first 6 episodes of the one and only season this show ever had. Normally when you're a kid and you watch some old cartoons, whether it be Top Cat, Wacky Races, or something like Help It's the Hair Bear Bunch or Hong Kong Phooey, you never stop to think just how much was made for the show. It may only be 17 episodes for Wacky Races, 30 for Top Cat, or even something as low as 13 episodes for a show like Inch Eye Private Eye. All in all, there's not much to say here. Top Cat is a good show. Like I said, this wasn't a must-watch kind of cartoon whenever it aired on Cartoon Network or even Boomerang, but if it came on, I was happy it killed 20 minutes of time, and after not watching it for more than 10 or so years, it's not too bad. That being said, this seems like a strange release to put on VHS to promote Cartoon Network. When I think about the channel, this isn't a show I jump to. In fact, if I were presented with these 7 releases 20 years ago, I'd probably go to this one last. But if you don't look at this as a promotion and we're just after some cartoon entertainment, I think we have another winner. 3 out of 5. Alright, let's do Scooby-Doo. Now this show needs no introduction. It's one of the most iconic Hanna-Barbera cartoons, period. Unlike Top Cat, if you're looking for a show that can promote a TV channel dedicated to cartoons, this is a perfect choice. So what they offer us on this release is Mystery Mask Mix-Up, What the Heck's Going On, That's Snow Ghost, and Go Away Ghost Ship. I haven't watched the show in a while, but the first episode makes me feel like I'm watching a horror movie. A really goofy horror movie that features a hippie minivan driving through a hotel, but a horror movie nonetheless. The series definitely has a horror atmosphere, even if there's no monster on screen. All you need is for someone to do a creepy laugh, and you've got the atmosphere nailed. Scooby-Doo is the forefather to all modern mystery shows. You watch it long enough, you'll find yourself trying to figure out the bad guy before they're revealed. You see them on screen, and your immediate response is, they did it, guaranteed, they did it. In the end, this video succeeds in more ways than one. It works as a promotion for Cartoon Network, and it highlights everything that's great about Scooby-Doo, and why a simple show about crime-solving teenagers and their pet dog went on to become a successful franchise. Everything works. 4 out of 5. Next on the chopping block is Cow and Chicken. Now we're talking. If you grew up on Cartoon Network in the 90s and you loved really brainless cartoons, this show was mandatory viewing. The characters were loud and obnoxious, nothing even remotely made sense, and the theme music was always in your face. First example of its great stupidity, take note of the main characters. We have a cow and a chicken, two barnyard animals biologically related to two deformed humans with no top half, with a cousin who is also a chicken and is literally boneless, and none of this was ever explained whatsoever. Let's not even go into the red guy basically being the devil. This is a show you just had to go with. It's like questioning why Brian can talk in Family Guy. You just went with it. Okay, so we have 13 episodes of this goofy show. Field trip to Folsom Prison, girls' bathroom, part-time job, supermodel cow, alive, who is Super Cow, confused, molting fairy, ugliest weenie parts 1 and 2, crash dive, happy meat, and school bully. All good shit. Let's just say I didn't have to watch much to get a final opinion. By the time I made it to part-time job, where cow actually gets milked, I remember why this show worked well as a kid. The episodes were short, at only 6 or 7 minutes per episode, and they were also incredibly stupid. Beyond Ed, Edd n Eddy, this may have been the dumbest cartoon I watched as a kid. As a kid, I didn't care if the show I was watching was intelligent or if it was as dumb as a pile of rocks. As long as it entertained me more than something like Gadget Boy, it had to be a winner. And after not watching it in bulk for close to 10 years, I can confirm Cow and Chicken is a big winner, and this VHS tape is a great showcase of what the show has to offer. This is a stupid show, but it's the good kind of stupid. 4 out of 5.
And
well, it's not quite the end yet, we still have 2 more to go. Let's do the Flintstones. Another great promotional choice. This show is on the level of popularity of Scooby-Doo, if not higher. I haven't really watched the Flintstones since the days of Cartoon Network 2, when I used to get up at truly god-awful hours just to watch ancient shows like this. Oh, teenage me. So let's see if the 90 minutes of cartoon entertainment works for me. This release has a fair bit more variety than the other 6, with more than 166 episodes to pick from. We have Girls' Night Out from Season 1, The Twitch and Dino Goes Hollyrock from Season 3, and Dino Disappears from Season 4. Well, if I've learned anything from the first 2 episodes, it's that Fred invented rock and roll millions of years before the likes of Bill Haley, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, and Elvis Presley, who may have developed his twitchy dance moves from pickled dodo eggs. I've been saying for years that cartoons are a good source of education, and this is my proof. On that note, The Flintstones is still a decent show. Is it a must-watch? I'm gonna say no. It may not appeal that much to kids, it's definitely a bit edgier than cartoons you see these days, and some things wouldn't fly on Cartoon Network these days, but I can't deny it's as much of a classic as Scooby-Doo, and if you enjoyed cartoons back in the 90s, this could be a good rewatch for you. If you like Family Guy and American Dad, you could like The Flintstones, 3 out of 5. And last, but certainly not least, we have Johnny Bravo. Outside of a few recordable tapes, this is another one I haven't seen in more than a decade. Johnny was another early one. I can't remember when I first saw him, but it's probably safe to say it was around the time of Dexter, Cow and Chicken, and Ed, Edd n Eddy. You know me, I never turned down a cartoon, not even a dipshit like Johnny. The man can barely remember a shopping list. Even his aunt wants nothing to do with him. So let's take a look. Nearly 90 minutes of tunes. We're starting to slack here. So we have the first 12 episodes from Season 1. Super Duped, Bungled in the Jungle, Barely Enough Time, Sensitive Male, Bravo Doobie Doo featuring a certain dog, Date with an Antelope, Did You See a Bull Run By Here, Cookie Crisis, I Used to Be Funny, My Fair Dog, that could almost be an Ed, Edd and Eddy episode, Blarney Buddies, and 'Twas the Night. See, if you've been wondering all this time whether or not this counts as a Christmas review, there you go, we have a Christmas cartoon. This officially counts. I'd like to point out, Kronos, master of all time, can't set the time on his VCR. I feel your pain, sport. It took me 22 years to work that one out. A fuckload of good it does me these days. Also, Bravo Doobie-Doo is a really weird crossover. It's like when Tom and Jerry crossed over with Johnny Quest. Tall, blonde and stupid sticks out like a sore thumb. Nice reference to Joe Barbera, by the way. All that being said, despite not having seen the show properly since 2009, I'd say Johnny Bravo holds up. Would it fly on Cartoon Network today? Considering how impressionable kids are, absolutely not. The Flintstones, maybe. Johnny Bravo, not a chance. On the other hand, rewind 20 years and the Cartoon Network kids just might say yes to this fun release. 4 out of 5. And now, time for some rankings. Start from the bottom and work our way up. Wacky Races remains at number 79. That hasn't changed. Top Cat goes to number 72, ahead of Hair Bear Bunch and The Fogman and behind The Early Years. It's a good cartoon, but not truly amazing. 2 steps up, at number 70 we have Dexter's Lab. The first season of the show wasn't the best, and if we had some later episodes, it could have been higher. The Flintstones goes to number 59, ahead of Fantasia and behind 2 Scooby-Doo movies and Thomas and His Friends Help Out. Another good cartoon, they all were really, but it was never one of my favourites. A fair bit up the list, at number 41, is Scooby-Doo, above Kim Possible, The Secret Files and Tom and Jerry's Cartoon Cavalcade, and behind these Thomas and Friends releases. I prefer Kim and Tom and Jerry, but Scooby-Doo is longer than Tom and Jerry and offers more than Kim Possible, so it just barely beats them. A reminder that these rankings relate to the media release in question and not the TV series overall. Finally, sharing the spot at number 31, we have Cow and Chicken and Johnny Bravo. I spent a long time thinking about it and I couldn't decide which one I preferred. Johnny Bravo has better writing, but Cow and Chicken is goofier with more interesting characters. If one of them was Ed, Edd and Eddy, or even Courage the Cowardly Dog, my wife's favourite Cartoon Network show, the decision would have been a lot easier. So that's it. 7 VHS tapes, could have been 8, and all in all, pretty good. There's not much to say about them overall. If you found yourself in possession of one of these back in 2000, you more than likely watched the channel they were promoting, and you equally as likely knew what you were in for. If you watched Cartoon Network religiously back in the day, these would have been great videos to own. That being said, barring the fact that VHS has been a dead technology for more than 15 years, the only real reason to own these things at this point is for the novelty, due to it being a promotional series, similar to the Disney Holiday Planners and a taste of Cartoon Network. I love that 97 Holiday Planner, but outside of a review that I still consider one of my best, I have nothing to gain by owning this. As for a taste of Cartoon Network, forget about it. That thing costs more than all 7 of these put together. But I loved Cartoon Network in those days, and in a way I still have a soft spot for it. And if this were to be the last review I ever make, I'm happy to be going out with that logo.
Away again, away and away again.